what is really going on? Let's get some gloves on and I'll begin to explain what I did. This on the bench in front of you was, if I can find the ID plate off the back of it, Howard Rotavator, West Horndon, Essex, England. There we go. Model 200, and there's a serial number there. This was the implement, the back end off a rotavator. Boys oh boys, did I take it apart. So I got this rotavator, back end, the front end, but no motor, for 20 quid. And I proceeded to take it apart. And you can see from the damage, if you want to call it that, to those flanges, they were completely, like that should be flat. Maybe that'll help. You can see they should be flat. They go on this shaft here and they probably won't go back on unless I give them a thorough cleaning. They took an awful lot of abuse to take them apart. Some things came off, like the tines. The digging tines came apart relatively easily, but getting those flanges off was absolute murder. So I can't see myself doing anything with it because I've destroyed the gaskets and the oil seals, and I don't particularly want the rotavator end anyways. I want the gearbox from the driving wheels end. Don't ask why. I had a plan, and that plan is, well, it's gone for now. Like, there was various circlips and things holding things on, and they're dead. I've got spare circlips, but I don't know really if I need to put it back together. So let's get this tidied up a little bit. Yikes. So what happens? Well, there's a let's get it up on the bench. It weighs a ton. Oh dear, it weighs a ton. Right. Can we even zoom out and see this? Right, so this is the driving end. Pair of wheels, and then up on the front, somewhere up this end, should be a motor on a motor mount. And it turns this thing. And as you can see, as I rotate that, the wheel drives forward, and it's only on, you can either have no wheels, one wheel, or both wheels. That's one wheel. Selector's a bit dicky. This is the selector. There we go. So now, once it engages, if it'll engage, maybe that's off. Feels like off. Let's try back. Won't seem to go. Let's put a bit of assistance on it. There we go. It's a bit, needs to really be moving to go into. That's one wheel again. Oh, come on. Just trying to show you for the benefit of the audience here. It's weird, before I took the back end off it, it was doing all right. No, I'm not going to get that to go. Let's try and get it out of gear again if I can. Yeah. Okay, so that spins anyways, drives the wheels forward. That bit seems to be working. On here, clamps, put in that sock to keep it clean, clamps this thing. So it clamps on there, if I can get it to sit in right. There we go. So it clamps on there. That engages with a coupler that should be in here. Then this thing runs through, I can't remember which end it was, through a gearbox like that. Gearbox inside it has this beautiful bronze wheel that is driven from that, and then the blades go around this way, and then there's a bit of a, I don't think it's a PTO, but there's a bushing, it's not a bushing, bearing on the end in this, which side is it? In this side, this little housing here has a bearing, and there's various plates and things to cover it up and whatnot. So I, you know, I can't say I destroyed it. I bought it for 20 quid. Thinking it was a good idea. 20 quid, good idea. Beautiful old rotavator. No engine, left out in the rain probably for 10 years or more. Making up numbers now. Possibly for 10 years or more. And got it home. And the back end of it was seized. So you see here, that shaft rotates in this housing. I can't remember which way around it goes actually, but I don't know if it matters. And there's oil seals on each end. So that spins now quite freely. Let me tell you, it didn't previously, because everything that goes in between here and here was solid with like rusted up watery clay or something. And there should be an oil seal around that, which is like a rubber ring pushed in there. And then that's held on with a kind of a metal band. Although in theory, some kind of a something with a hose clip, like I had to cut them off because, you know, I think they're a service part anyways, but rusted solid, going nowhere. So right now all I can do is hope to put it together with a bit of oil and just hope that, you know, it's not, like, it is unusable. Who's going to use this, you know? So you've got some castings, but like to get the things off, it took a bit of a hammering, you can see there. So these things need to be slightly refaced and that kind of stuff. Look at this for a wonderful bearing. R&M. It's just kind of magnificent. It's a brass center to it. So I don't remember how to get this in. I'm not sure if I have to push off the center. I think I do. Ah, Jesus. Balls. Now it's covered in dust, you see. This is the bit I didn't want. Okay. Let's give this a wipe again. Get this bearing housing in here. So this video is just going to be me, 7 minutes in, going to be me rambling about this thing. And what I did to it. Just putting any old engine oil on here to put it back together. Beautifully machined, really nice tolerances. Go on in. That's it. That's a good... It's not an interference fit. You don't have to hammer it, but it's not a sliding fit either. Look at that bearing carrier there. Wowee, that's something else. Now there's some way of doing this. I don't know what it is. Don't know if it's meant to rock in or what, or I don't know. Right. Look at that, like it's just lovely as bearings go. And of course this is going to be covered in dirt now. Right, my greasy bench. 8 bearings, is it? Yeah. 8 bearings. Nope, 9. Okay. Get them good and clean-ish. I'm not expecting to use this without putting it, you know, through its paces somehow. I'm not really sure how you're meant to get these things back together now. This is the whole thing. I can't really remember how it came apart. Do you kind of twist it in like other things? Normally, you join up the things from 2 sides. But, so this is a Howard rotavator anyways. Made in England. I think some of them were made in Australia, or they might have been imported to Australia. I don't know. Go on, bearings. Am I missing one? I don't think so. Yeah, I might be. Where are you? Missing ball bearing? Oh dear. I'm definitely missing one. Where did it go? Can't have gone far. Hiding under here. Balls. Literally. This is frustration. Is it in the cloth? I don't see it. How did that happen? This video's getting better by the second, hey? There it is. Blind eyes. Okay. Now somehow I've got to drop this in while keeping the balls in that I'm struggling to keep even in the vicinity of the epoxy bearing. So no, I don't want to go. They need, normally you'd put a little dab of grease on things. Let's see if I can just soak my hands in oil here. Maybe that oil will stick them for just a second. It won't. Right, there we go. Last two gone, right. So I'm not entirely sure how these are meant to jump in. Bit of shmoo. Right, so that's that in. I don't think that's correct though, somehow, because it's not sitting correctly. Really don't know, however. So anyways, that goes like that. Just show you this. With that little thrust plate thing on there. And then around the back, there's this thrust bearing on it. So that's the back end that clamp that goes on here. And it's got a thrust bearing as well. Let's look at those. Another set of the same things, basically. Keep them in there. England, Hoffman. So that goes in and puts pressure on this little dealie here. Now, can I offer that up without cocking everything up here? Is that going to go? If I put a bit of pressure on it. You're not meant to hammer ball bearings into position, like, but what am I going to do? Now, can I get that back apart again without losing the balls? There we go. See, I don't think they're in correctly because they're not. I wonder, can I pull this out? See, the balls I think are sitting in the center there. I'm really not sure if that was meant to come apart. Like, I didn't drift it out, so you know, I just want to drift it back in maybe. Handle of a file, hammer. If it came out, they'll go back in. You're in for a treat in this video. Oh, that's done something there. Yeah, just kind of. That's not weird. Okay, I'm happy with that. Feels like it's in. Right. So then this shaft goes like this. Granted, now there's no gasket in there, which is not a good thing. Come on, shaft, ease yourself in there. Without epoxy dickering up my bearings again. Drop of oil, perhaps. It might help. Maybe I'll put the thrust bearing on the end. No, I can't because I have to put the circlip on that holds on the thingy there. Very complicated. Let's take out the shaft, give it a bit of a clean so they don't get filthy. Could I put that on something? Like something like that. Like that. Like this. So this is kind of like a episode in heartache for me because why is that so tight? Because really this thing is a beautiful machine. It just does not want to go. So I wonder, is that I'm just pushing that bearing out now. Means I can slide it in from the other end, perhaps, if that's how it's meant to go. Strangest bearings that I've never seen. Okay, will this go in here? There doesn't appear to be any damage to the end of that shaft. It doesn't want to go from that end. Doesn't want to go from the other end. Definitely came out of there. Like you could try put heating one and cooling the other. I don't know. This is kind of the conclusion. I thought this might go back together in a way that I could keep all the parts safely somewhere, but it doesn't look like that. I might just have to box it up, you know. Beautiful bearings. They're just lovely. Man. Right, well, this is how we do it. Put that on there, put that on there. A bit of the tappy tap tap. That's an interference fit. Like, it has just driven itself in that far, so how do I get the rest of the way in? We need some kind of a socket, perhaps. Something like this. I put that up there, hold this down. Just get score some points for the heathen that I am. Do it this way. Okay. Right. And this one went on here. Let's get a bit of oil back into these guys now that they've been subject to this. So that's just an interference fit, maybe. What is he doing? Right, and a circlip. But the idea with this video, 18 minutes in, is that somebody might benefit from this. Drop that down in there. Hopefully it'll just sail in. Yep, there it is. Lovely. Right. Now, gasket free. We'll put that cover back on. Whoopsie. Now, this one had special washers that lock it on. You know, and then you hammer over the sides of them there to, because this isn't really meant to come apart ever. So, like, that's a casting down the bottom, and this is a piece of steel that's been welded on and then machined back, bored out in the center to take that shaft. I'm not going to tighten these up too tight, I think, because I want them to be removable at some point in the future. Yeah, you know what he's done? He's put it on upside down. These bars here are meant to be on the other side. So take it asunder again. Right. Up and around. And up. and last one. So yeah, cast iron, machined steel, machined brass. Get to in a second. Why don't you want to go in? It's the last one not lined up for some reason. Come on. There it is. Yep, and imperial size threads on everything. So like that. Then put a copious amount of oil in here. And beautiful machined washers. Drop one on. I don't know, is there a right way and a wrong way for this? Of course there will be, and I don't know what it is. Don't know actually, maybe the same. Put that in there. Now, I think if I spin this, will it engage? How did this come apart? I can't remember. I think I'm doing it wrong again. How did I get this apart? I don't remember. Right, I think though it has to kind of thread onto it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back again. Learn to count. Okay, so if that falls out, then you can put it back on and bring it back in with the bearing in there. There we go. Like that. Another fancy washer. Another dollop of oil. What I'm going to do is, there was gearbox oil in it, so I'm just going to put the gearbox oil back in whenever it's done. So those are side to side kind of pressure washers, maybe. A plate here that I managed to smash one of the lugs off whenever I was beating it. I don't know, does this have a correct way, but I presume that the webs match up, so that would mean that it would be like this perhaps. Let's see. That'll do it. So six screws here. Yeah, so this thing, you know, probably didn't do much work looking at inside that gearbox. Like, it's spotless. Really, really quite spotless inside, and the bearing's good, and like these things, you know, the odds of one of these actually going back to the factory for maintenance is pretty slim. Now, where did that piece of casting that broke off? I put it somewhere safe. There it is. I'm hoping to just screw it back on. Use it as a kind of a spacer or something. You see, it's hanging out the side a bit there, and that's probably why I beat it off. When I was bashing and bashing on those flanges to get them off. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, bashing the snots out of them, trying to get them apart. Right. Put this one back in again. Right way up, maybe. That's the best I can do. Beautiful engineering. I'll probably say this a few times. So basically this is just a little gearbox, worm drive. Nothing to it. beautifully made out of various materials. Iron, brass, steel. Completely obsolete really, because modern rotavators won't attach to it, and you know, where are you going then? Trying to keep something like this on the road, and where are you going to get? You could probably get all the oil seals for it and all that stuff, you know. Tractor supply stuff going down to this size is usually available. So probably some kind of a sheep shears or a milk machine or something that uses something similar. But I'll just put it aside for spares. This is all part of my daydream for a walking tractor, and you would want it kind of rotating the other way. You don't want a 10 to, I think I measured it as 10-to-1 reduction here roughly. Whether it's actually 10-to-1 or something approximating 10-to-1, I can't remember. This end then, I did have a gasket saved from one end, I think. And you see there's a nice big gasket going around that gearbox, and I'm not going to be able to get much oil into it, or I'll put it in and it'll leak out. So there's one gasket there. Get you into the photo, into the shot. So offer up that pressure thingy, pressure bearing. It's not a pressure bearing, what's it called? Now, where are the screws for this bit? Somewhere safe, no doubt. Somewhere very safe. Ah, come on, where are you? No, don't fall out, whatever you do. Put you upside down. For the moment, there they are. That's it, right. 3, 4. Stay together, ball bearings. Don't lose your head now. So these ones, anyways, these threaded holes go all the way through to the crankcase, which is a bit crap because it means when you take them out, it leaks. Now granted, why would you ever take them out? This is, I guess what could happen is that this little plate that has the welded on bracket that holds the stone cover here, this bracket, could bend and you don't need to take it apart to weld on a new bit, but I think any kind of farmhand repair wouldn't take it off, they'd just weld it in situ. Oh dear, that's heavy. So that's what it looks like. Quite a piece of something. So if I turn this shaft here, it's not easy to get a grip on. So let's put this coupler back on. This is going to be interesting. So it goes on. Of course, some guy hit that with a hammer, if I recall correctly. Of course he did. Probably bruised the ends over on it. Right. Have a look up here now and see if I can't smash this on. Damage it from the other end. There we go, it's on. Just needed to kind of bruise itself a bit first, hey? So then it needs going a bit more. I can see we're not quite there yet. So, if you would only record the correct thing, the little hole has to line up for a pin to drift in. Pin goes this way. Support that a bit better. bashing the crap out of it. Without whopping that flange too hard. I don't want that punch. I want a punch with a flat end. A drift with a flat end. Like that. Come on, nearly there. That'll do it. Right, this is going back together. So if I spin this, you see the axles there spin. Okay. Drain plug on the bottom. Neat little brass maybe it's not brass actually, that might be steel. Get that in there. Might be a taper plug, that, you know. So there's no gaskets on it and it's not sealed properly. If I put oil in here, what's it gonna do? So I'll only put in a little bit, maybe, of the stuff that came out. Try not to destroy everything on my workbench. And you see it'll run out the end anyways, and there's no oil seals and all that other stuff, so let's give that a spin. You can see the gears going around in there, in here. Right, now I don't think I can get those flanges back on without cleaning them. And I don't really want to devote any time to it because it's kind of pointless. They're completely, that was the issue. So what I ended up doing was wrecking my bearing pullers. So this is the pullers, but you can see that that's no longer straight. It's completely bent, and I stripped the threads. I bent it and then stripped the threads off it. So I put this onto the flange like that. Pulled and pulled and pulled because the thread was coming up out of there. And then just smacked, so if it was like this, put the pullers on and then smacked the back of the flange like that until it came off. And eventually it did. And we are where we are. Let's put that plug back in actually, it's kind of silly not to do that straight away. Beautiful big brass plug. Oh, it's wonderful. It looks great. Just waiting for this to leak all over me. Howard 200. The fit on the plug even is pretty wonderful, you know. It's not it's not just going in, it needs tightening in, you know. Unless I've cross-threaded it, but I don't think I did. The other thing I managed to do is smash up the ends of the shafts a bit. So how you would get that flange to stay on is another question as well, but really I just want to put it together to get all these little bits out of the way. That makes it tidy. Yeah, it's a bit of a disaster this really. So these rubbers are meant to go on here like this, and then these caps are meant to go on top of the rubbers. Something like that, and then these circlips are meant to go on over the top of them. There's my little circlip pliers. I put it on anyways because you can see what we're doing then. And it holds them on like that. Dropping oil all over that. Flange goes on. Castle nut goes on. One of them got the crud smacked out of it. Yeah, this one should go on, but I don't even think it wants to go on. No, it doesn't. No, it's stuck. Great. With a washer first, of course. Now let's. But that might give you a bit of a hint. How did it stuck on? Might give you a bit of a hint how to put the thing back together if you're ever working on one of these. Or you get a basket case or something like that. Where's the other rubber ring on? There it is. Copious amount of oil in there because I feel like a moron. But like you can see, that was already rotted out. I didn't cut that out. That was rotted out and then, you know, seized in position. Washer. Can't see that other castle nut going on here because it was a bit beaten up. Yeah, not a hope in hell. Those threads are smashed up. They need to be recut. Yeah, so, you know, gearbox. What are you going to do? I feel bad about it, but I've kind of done my best to free it up. I spent hours, you know, literally probably 3 hours taking the thing apart, which did a lot of damage. It's good for you though, good for me, because it showed me how the thing was put together and showed me that I could take it apart. And like what I learned about it was that maybe if I had a really big hydraulic press, I could have pushed them out carefully, but I might still have damaged the ends, although I might have used something like a socket, you know, over the end of that to press it out, but it'd have to be a little bit smaller than that because it wouldn't press out against the splines. But you know, I could have turned a piece of metal to surround the threads, to push it out and have it supported correctly and all that kind of stuff. But I'm not even interested in this part. I don't really want it. This end of the rotavator is not for me. I wanted the front end with the gearbox, and I still have that, and I'll take it apart probably. Maybe I won't take the wheels off it. God knows I don't want to smash it up, but I might just take the gear selector out to have a look at that if I can just remove the gear selector because it's a bit rusted, and try doing something there. What a disaster. This is work, you know. This is what happens the rest of the time in the videos on YouTube that you never get to see. So maybe that's been useful to you. The Howard 200, I don't know, I hope so. Gloved hand, thanks for watching. Questions or abuse, leave it below. See you later. Oh yeah, you know what? Somebody could have made a nice job of this. Somebody could use these parts. You want to keep them in a box somewhere, preferably like underwater, with a load of iron filings and clay, and then, you know, somebody could use them, somebody you don't know, in the future that you've never met. I've heard that comment before. See you later.